Let me talk to you a little bit about change, about revolution. You're going to hear some things today. I'll talk about the change that we had at Kodak. How many of you bought a roll of film in the last year? Raise your hands. Man, it's not that funny, guy. I mean, it's like you're really pissing me off over there. I really work for something. I mean, I saw 2 hands go up. 3. Thank you, sir. You really helped make our quarter. I appreciate that. Put us right over the top. How many of you own a digital camera on your phone or a digital camera? Raise your hands. Okay, welcome to my world. Imagine what it was like stepping into this company 5 years ago. We were doing $15 billion. $15 billion in consumer film. This year, Kodak will do less than $200 million in consumer film. You think you got a tough marketing problem? For us, it was adapt or die. It was like, a proof of life. We basically, like most of us learn in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, when we came across a body that's laying on the ground, you take a mirror, you hold it up to its mouth and see whether it's breathing. Does it fog the mirror? In fact, in marketing, I think that's a lot of what we need to do, because as we're going through this revolution, we're learning the different tools that we get from Aprimo and other vendors and other partners. We're finding out different ways that we can do things. And as we find out the ways in which we do it, we have to hold mirrors to their mouth. We have to see why we're in this game. We really have to examine what we're doing, the ways we're doing it, in different ways than we've ever done before. Now, when I asked people at Kodak what kind of company we were, they would say, well, we're a film company. I go, no, we're not. They say, well, we're in the consumer inkjet business now, so we're an inkjet company. No, we're not. They were very passionate about the things that we were, and I'll get to about what we were, but it wasn't those things. In fact, I was so passionate about pheasants a number of years ago back in South Dakota, I went out and started a pheasant farming operation. I love pheasants, folks. I love to watch them, I love to see them, I love to hunt them, I love to kill them, and I love to eat them, okay? I love pheasants. And I was so passionate, I went out and got 10,000 acres, and I put up pens all over this place. I pens the size of this room, the size of football fields, and I put telephone poles around them, and I strung nets over the top so that the pheasants could run around free before I killed them, And so one night, as it would happen in South Dakota, the thunderstorm rolled across the prairie, and big, huge torrential rain. And as I did that, 10,000 birds looked up into the sky, opened their beaks, and drowned. Oh, yeah. These are the dumbest birds on the face of the fricking earth. There's a reason why they call birds fowl and pheasants are it. You know what it's like? Oh, go ahead and laugh now. It's a lot of therapy later, lose a lot of money. I mean, zero wasn't your money, it was my money. I mean, I tried to corner the market on pheasants until I realized there wasn't one, right? Now I have a saying in business: you hire a turkey, you train a turkey, you motivate a turkey, you have a pheasant. Please stay with me. This is a slow audience this afternoon. Stay with me as much as you possibly can. Now, one of the other things, as a chief marketing officer of a Fortune 100 company, I had a lot of vendors come and talk to me. You have that in your part of the work, right? Yeah, we all do. And I tell you, they were coming to me and talking to me, and I learned out that this elevator pitch that they were giving me turned out to be what I called a 30-page PowerPoint presentation. I mean, it's supposed to be an elevator pitch. Now, it's supposed to be something you do in the span of an elevator ride, isn't that right? And maybe you guys live in taller places than South Dakota. The tallest building in the whole state's what? Downtown Holiday Inn. Yeah, it's 9 stories, That's the biggest building in our entire state. It has one of those rotating ballrooms. Remember that? Doesn't work anymore, but it used to, And it was really cool because you used to take your date to that. Remember that? You take your date to her, it was really cool. The fancy place, rotating ballroom. Except when you went to the bathroom, came back, she'd moved on you, right? But these 30-page PowerPoint presentations, and at the end of an hour, I said, I didn't know what the hell these people were doing. So I decided to change it. It's been one of the biggest concepts of my book, The Mirror Test. I call it the 118. Here is what it is. This is the new Elevator Pitch 2.0, the new digital version. It's called the 118. 8 seconds is the average attention span of an adult. It is. I know it to be true. I looked it up on the internet. Okay? 110 seconds is the average elevator ride in New York City. From the time you press the button, wait for the doors to open, step on, right up or right down, and get off. Folks, that's what you have. You have 118 seconds. You have 8 seconds to hook me, 110 seconds to close me. That's what you have. Define it in that time. In fact, in your business, how many of you can define what your 118 is? More importantly, can every single one of your marketing team do the exact same 118? More importantly, can every single person in your company give that same elevator pitch or the 118? By the way, you have to get it to at least 118 seconds or less. But if Moses can do it in less than 2 tablets of 5 bullet points each, you can do it in a lot less time. Okay? I don't care where you were or from. That was funny. All right? I practiced that line. The guys backstage thought it was hilarious. The Fab Four. I've been back with the guys at the Fab Four. What a great show. I've been back there playing with their guitars and everything. I hope they didn't mind. I moved all those little things on their end of the thing. I think they're going to sound great. You know, it should be good. They just go around saying, hey, we all live in a yellow submarine. I think they've been smoking something personally, but oh, come on and lighten up, folks. I know it's the end of the day, but geez, come on. Now, let's see if this has ever happened to you. This is about leadership. Second mirror test, looking in the mirror and saying, do I have what it takes to run the operation? Now, let's say you pull up to McDonald's. You pull up to McDonald's, you get up to the first speaker, and you shout your order. You pull up to the first window, you pay your money. You pull up to the second window, you're expecting to get your food. What happens? Person leans out the window and says, sir, it's not quite ready. If you don't mind pulling up to this little parking space, we'll bring it right out to you. Has that ever happened? Absolutely. Do what I do and say, no, thank you, I'll wait. And I roll my window back up. Oh, yeah. Pretty soon, the 14-year-old assistant manager comes over and knocks on my window. Said, sir, is there a problem? I said, there's no problem. He says, we're going to hold people up. I go, I don't mind, and I roll my window back up. Soon, the 16-year-old manager comes over and knocks on my window. Said, sir, is there an issue? I said, yeah, there is. See, we had conditions of satisfaction. I gave you my order. You took it. I gave you my money. You took it. I'm expecting to get my food. I'm not getting it, so I'm not taking it. You're asking me to pull over here to parking purgatory, but you're not giving me a thing in return. I mean, how about one of those McMinty shakes or one of those apple pies I like? You know, change the deal. Until then, I don't mind waiting, and I'll hold everybody up, and I roll my window back up. Now when I go, you like that? That was good. I like that. I like a woman who can laugh like that. My wife does it every night. And so, okay, now you got that one. I think I know this crowd at this point. So now when I go to McDonald's, I pull up to the speaker, I shout out my order, I pull up to the first one, I pay my money, I pull up to the second one, and my food is thrown through the window into my car. It's about setting conditions of satisfaction in our business. Folks, I will tell you, I spend more time in this area with my marketing teams or with the people I work with, my vendors, my customers, especially my customers who happen to be my boss at the time, CEO of Kodak, and I would sit down and say, okay, what promises do you need me to deliver? What are the things that I have to deliver? What are our conditions of satisfaction? What time frame? What's my budget? All those kind of things. Work those out ahead of time. I spend a lot of time on that before I go out and start doing things. It saves a lot of time. How many of you are spending time talking about conditions of satisfaction? Now, the other thing I think that marketers are supposed to do in the organization, especially leaders are supposed to be doing in the organization, is cause tension. In fact, that was my job at Kodak, was to cause tension. I did a pretty good job. My job is to take everybody from the center of the table and move them to the edge of the table. From the center of the stage, move to the edge of the stage. That's our job as leaders. Now, HR and legal, those guys will want to pull you all the way to the back to the center, and you have to tell them that's not their job. Their job is to keep you from falling off. That's their job. There's a saying in sports, no pain, no. Why don't we have tension in business? This is our version of pain. Healthy tension's a good thing. Having differences of opinions amongst teams are good things, amongst individuals, amongst the businesses, amongst the silos, amongst the functions. Those are good things to have because what happens is you get a better product as a result. When I first brought the team together at Kodak, when I first stepped in there 5 years ago, I had 800 and some marketers pulled into a room, and I said, let me tell you a story. And I told them a story about a story from the book, The Goal. I don't know if you've ever read it, but if you haven't, you should. You should. It's a really good book. In there, the author talks about taking a group of Cub Scouts on a hike. As he took these kids up on a hike up a mountain, the kids got separated. Some of the kids were faster than some of the other kids. And so as the adult, as the leader, he thought he should stay with the slow kids while the fast kids went up ahead because he was afraid if something would happen, if something would happen to the fast kids, at least he would catch up. But throughout the entire hike, he was worried about how could he put them together? How could he keep them together? He got to the first rest area. The fast kids had already rested. They got up and moved on. He was still with the slow kids. He was thinking, if I rearrange them, if I move here and move here, until finally it dawned on him. He could only move as fast as his slowest common denominator. I looked out at my team much like this, and I said, some of you are slow common denominators. My job is to take you on that trek, to take you on that hike, to move us in a fast. In fact, that was our slogan at the time, fast. Focus, accountability, simplicity, and trust. Our kind of headline was, even if we screw up, let's just do it faster. Okay? Causing tension. So I turned to the group and said, some of you are the slowest common denominators. And I'm going to find you. I'm going to hunt you down. And I'm going to ask you to leave the company. We love you, but we're going to miss you. How many of you have slow common denominators on your team today? Whether they be vendors or customers or even people that work for you. And what are you doing to move them out of your team? And as you start making all these changes, as we did, as we were fast, we became faster and then fastest, so to speak. As we made those changes, you're going to make mistakes. And people would come to me and say, Jeff, what happens if we make a mistake with the campaign or we do something wrong? Here was my one answer. Is anyone going to die? Well, we're going to do this big mailing. We're going to spend this. We're going to do that. Is anyone going to die? And that was my motto. In fact, we were in this huge campaign against Big Inc. And my apologies to Big Inc. if you're in this room, but I'm sorry, I just have to point it out. Big Inc. Imagine this. This is a fight. I'm not allowed to tell you who they are because the lawyers and the attorneys, they follow me around everywhere. And so we're in this huge fight with Big Inc. You got to imagine the model. We're going to enter into the inkjet model, into the market, against a competitor that made $9 billion off of inkjet cartridges last year. $9 billion just off a profit from ink. Big Ink. That's what I call them. The model is you get a printer for free basically off the shelf, but they charge you like $60 for the inkjet cartridges and they're locked up behind the counter. You know what I'm saying? Now, we all think that oil's pretty freaking expensive. I mean, imagine that. I mean, oil. And you know what's more expensive than oil? It's right there on your table. Bottled water. That's exactly right. More expensive than oil. You know what's more expensive than bottled water? You're going to have it later. No, vodka. Vodka, yes. But nice going. He's jumped out there real quick with that wine thing, didn't he? And what's more expensive than vodka if you had a pretty good year? Champagne. Okay, champagne. More expensive. If you have too much vodka and champagne, what's more expensive than that? Penicillin. Okay, life-saving penicillin. And more expensive than all of those combined by a factor of 10 is ink in those stupid little ink cartridges. When you were paying $4 a gallon for ink, $4 a gallon for gas, remember that? And you had a 20-gallon tank and you filled it up as $80, you're going, I am pissed off. I'm outraged. Do you know what it would cost you to fill up your tank with ink from Big Ink? Come on. Anybody want to guess? 300,000, not even close. Now, the model is we're only going to charge you a fair price for the printer, and Kodak says we're going to charge you half price for the ink. That's what our model is. They're charging you basically a free printer and gouge you for the ink, kind of like a crack pipe and a crack kind of thing. That's what I've heard. I don't want to say that that's what they're doing, just what I've heard. Someone guessed $1,000. You know what it would cost you to fill up your gas tank? $462,000 is what it would cost you to fill up your tank with black ink from Big Ink. Now at Kodak, we were only going to charge you half of that because we care, all right? So I'm in this big fight with Big Ink. I'll just give you their initials, HP. So don't want to get sued. Now, So we're in this fight, and I said, how about we go out and do some campaign to show the decadence of this model? And I said, what do we do? So we came up, we started brainstorming. In a group like this, we started brainstorming. Someone said, let's hire someone for The Sopranos. We do kind of a gangster thing. I said, it's great. So we hired Vinny Pastore, guy that played Big Pussy. You remember him? Even if we didn't, I just like to say Big Pussy up on the stage. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I remember one time I used the F word on stage. Oh, wasn't good. No, I thought it was good. I was at the ad tech. You guys have been to ad tech, right? If you can use the F word anywhere in the world, it would be at an internet conference in San Francisco, right? Okay, well, imagine you get the call from your chairman after you've used it. And I remember getting called to his office, and he said, you can't use the F word on stage, Jeff. You're one of the top 3 officers in the company of a Fortune 100 company. It's not appropriate. I said, boss, you told me to push the line. You told me to stretch it. He goes, but I didn't tell you to cross it. And I said, well, now we know where it's at, right? Now we know where it's at. So, no one's going to die. So, anyway, now, so this is revolution. This is what it's all about. It's about stretching, about pushing, no pain, no gain. Now, we hired Vinny Pastore. Imagine the scene. A rainy day, foggy. He pulls up in a black Cadillac next to the East River. He gets out, slams his door. He's carrying a baseball bat. He walks to the back of the car. He opens the trunk, and you hear it creak open. And you see a scene, what you think is a body laying in the trunk, looking up at Vinny, bent over with the baseball bat, saying, you've been lying to us. You've been cheating us. You've been robbing us blind. The family says, you got to go. And then we show a picture of an HP inkjet printer in the deck. Next scene, on the ground, beats it with a baseball bat, puts a chain around it, cement block, throws it in the East River. He gets into the caddy, puts his arm around the Kodak inkjet printer and says, welcome to the family. And then it says, don't get whacked by high inkjet prices, text such and such, coupon off, and we run a mobile campaign. I said, this is great. We tested double-digit response on this mobile campaign. This is awesome. It's going to be great. I said, sign up for a Blockbuster weekend. We'll put it in motion pictures everywhere. Double down. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Team came, said double-digit response. This is great. It goes in on the summer weekend. Blockbuster. Huge weekend opening for movies. Our thing is being seen by everywhere. I come back in the office on Monday morning. I sit down at my desk. 2 people walk in. They've got a sheet of paper with all the numbers, all the stats of the numbers of text that we got over the weekend. I get the sheet of paper and I look at it. And on the sheet is written the number 2. Yeah, 2. I said, is this 2 million? No. 200,000? No. 20,000? No. No, Jeff, it's 2. I said, get everybody in a room right now. The team comes together. I said, someone please explain to me what happened. I said, you guys tested it. It was double-digit response. People thought it was hilarious. It was funny. It was good. People were texting us back and all the testing. Someone please explain to me what the hell went wrong with this campaign. Finally, someone in the back of the room raised their hand. I said, what? He goes, Jeff, what do you do when you sit in a motion picture theater with your phone? I said, where the hell were you when we came up with this idea? I turned back to the team and I said, what? No one's going to die. We blew it on that one. How do we repurpose it? We repurposed it to a different type of campaign. It became a very successful one. In fact, that product's grown at about 160% this year over last year. So not a bad move. No one's going to die.